Good morning there, everybody. Happy Friday to you. I'm taking a big cup of coffee this morning. Lots of slurps of coffee. It's been a very busy week, and yeah, today is a busy one too. So yeah, forgive me if I have my coffee while I record this live with you this morning. But yeah, I thought I would go live because I had a really exciting day yesterday at the National Wedding Venue Marketing Conference, and I thought I would share a few highlights and themes with you this morning for those of you who couldn't attend. I know there are a few members of this group who would like to be there but couldn't, of course, with your busy schedules and what have you. So I thought I'd record a few quick highlights for you. So if you are joining me live, it would be great if you could let me know with a little comment below. I think Isabel, Belle, I've got you here on the call, which is lovely. So if there's any, if you are joining, it would be great if you could just let me know if you can hear me all okay, because I always like to know that I'm not talking to myself. But yeah, so I'm going to just share with you, as I say, a few highlights and themes from yesterday's conference. We were really fortunate to have a lovely, gorgeous winter's sunny day in Manchester. We were at the Lowry Hotel, who did a great job, and we had one of the best conference rooms I think I've seen in a long time. It was absolutely light and bright, and double aspect windows on both sides. It was really great to spend the day in that conference room, I have to say. And yeah, lovely food, very well organized by Martin Evans and his team. So it was a real treat to be one of the speakers on the event, and there was a really great atmosphere in the room from some of you listening, probably there yesterday. I had a little flurry of new members to this group last night, which is great to see. So if you were there and you are listening this morning, please pop a comment, or if you're watching on catch up, please also let us know some of your highlights, because everyone's perspective is different on these things. So yeah, excellent. Sorry, I'm just having a little Natasha and Emma, thanks for joining this morning. That's great. I hope everyone can hear me all okay. And yeah, so this isn't a long live, as I say, it's just a quick couple of highlights from the conference yesterday before I actually have one of my, I've got one of my group Q&A calls for those going through my training program in a few minutes as well. It's a busy old day. Anyway, so yeah, there are kind of two main things that really shone through yesterday. I mean, first of all, actually, before I go into those two things, it was acknowledged early in the day that the wedding market is contracting. It's not year on year the number of couples marrying is getting a little bit smaller, not dramatically smaller, but nonetheless smaller. It is tough. It is competitive, and as I'm sure I don't need to tell many of you, there are many new venues, places and spaces coming onto the market, which means that we are all or you are all dealing with a sort of slightly contracting market with a lot more competition. So I think most of us know that and accept that. So the day started with that, but we are, as events people, as marketing people, we accept that challenge and we work with what we work with. And we focused very much yesterday on lots of positive things that we can do and lots of opportunities that we can make the most of. We talked a lot about obviously millennial audience, millennial customers, obviously in terms of how the fact that millennials are and will be for some time to come the predominant age group of those marrying, and exactly all those kind of expectations of ways of working and ways of buying and being customers and what have you. So the two key themes. Hi Becky, nice to see you here. The first theme that really came out throughout all of the speakers on the day and through the Q&A panel discussions was the real importance to you as venues of showing your people. There were lots of examples of real success stories where venues had really given a lot of exposure to their wedding coordinator, in-house wedding planner, to really get the customer to know them and to build that relationship. This may well seem obvious to some of you in the group, but I mean, certainly it was one of the themes of my talks, that quite often on websites, the wedding or events team can be a little bit anonymous. And it was really recommended through lots of the speakers yesterday that you as venues get your teams and your people much more visible and much more showing their personalities, and you know, having a bit of fun and kind of breaking down those barriers and being authentic while still remaining professional, of course. Hi Becky, hi Chris, nice to see you on the call. There were some great examples. Actually, Kira Crossan from Wedding Date showed a fantastic video that one of her venues had produced, that really showed the personalities of the couple who, you know, lead weddings within that particular hotel, and that's been working exceptionally well for them. And Tanya Headley, who used to head up the weddings at the Vermont Hotel, sort of spent a lot of time talking about the psychology of a bride and thinking like a bride, and also the real emphasis that a bride puts, or a groom, on the relationship that they build with that coordinator, you know, that they are just as important as the bricks and mortar of the building. And it's something that you know, millennials expect more and more. So any ways of really showcasing your team and what they're all about right from the beginning of the process. So I talked in my presentation about things like about pages, biographies, photos on your sort of website, obviously showing things like behind the scenes in Instagram and in your social media. So there were lots and lots of examples of actually, Adam from Direct Hotel Marketing talked about their sort of process, and how very much their sort of process that takes couples from sort of inquiry through to booking a show round has lots of email follow-ups, introducing the wedding coordinator and really building that relationship to encourage a couple to come in and book a show round. So it's about you as wedding coordinators, your wedding teams getting really visible. And that leads me on to the next theme that was really much discussed, and that's about video and live streaming. So obviously I'm on Facebook Live with you this morning. I do a fair few Facebook Lives. But there was a lot of talk about how all sorts of both recorded video and live are just so important and really needed to get you know, to boost your marketing and get you more seen. So again, we talked in lots of detail about the different ways that video could be used. A few ideas that I could sort of share with you. Actually, we were talking about testimonials, in fact, and sort of, you know, clients saying nice things. Actually, we talked about, you know, instead of asking for kind of written testimonials from couples, you know, get them to record something on their phone, get them to record a little video testimonial for you. There was obviously a lot of talk about millennials and, you know, using the phones constantly, using smartphones. So instead of asking for written testimonials, you know, using video in that way. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go off and produce professionally shot films, although obviously that is highly recommended, but it's kind of the whole mix of producing some of it yourself, but also getting some of your audience to record some videos for you. There were some interesting stats that were shared with us yesterday. Anything that has got video in it gets 1,200% more engagement if it's got video in it than if it's got text or image. So that stats were shared by Kira from Wedding Dates. And I have been reading quite a lot about this recently. Cisco projects that by 2021, 82% of internet traffic will be video based. So it is where things are going in all aspects of kind of how we do business. So I would urge you definitely to look at things like your promotional films, like your, we can include 3D tours and virtual tours in this, really, really important, but also how you can more informally just talk to your customers on camera. If your wedding coordinator can do that, your wedding team, but also get your customers doing that with testimonials and things like that. So that was a real a theme that we kept coming back to yesterday. Just having a glug of coffee now. I said to you, it's been quite a busy week, so I'm really, really shattered. It's a double shot this morning. So yeah, the another sort of aspect that was discussed quite a lot is use of the telephone, and obviously millennials' resistance to any kind of phone communication. Do give us a little comment if you know what I'm talking about here, for those of you who are listening. So it was, there's obviously lots of perspectives on this, and I think everyone acknowledged that ideally, if we can get our potential customers on the phone, or customers on the phone, that things can be resolved and sorted, and sales can be made so much more effectively. But it's getting to that stage. So there was a lot of talk about obviously sort of pre-warning potential customers if you're going to make a call. And I suppose what I mean is using other channels, so using direct messaging, using email, using however they're communicating to you, whether it's through your Instagram or through Facebook, is actually saying, can we speak, and let's line up a call, or I'm going to phone you tomorrow. So it's maybe still aiming for that phone call, but warning your potential customer that you are going to phone. A lot of venues found that they had success with that, rather than sort of getting on the phone cold, which isn't proving very successful with the the millennial wedding market. So what else do I have for you? There were so many kind of specific tips. We did talk about I've spoken to you about testimonials, which was really interesting, and also there was quite a few discussions about sort of ways of streamlining, obviously constant sort of questions from brides in terms of, things that you may already have in your literature, that you may have in your website, but they continue to ask a lot of questions, and how to sort of streamline that and save your time a little bit. We talked about, things like having frequently asked questions pages or documents, which certainly is something I've talked about before, and putting all of those questions that you're constantly asked and constantly emailing on into one document that you can send out. But we also talked about making that a bit more up to date for your millennial customer, and also this taps into the use of video. So maybe recording those frequently asked questions on a little film, and even if you're dealing with things on a one-by-one basis, can you, instead of spending time wording a lengthy email, can you record them a quick film and send that off to them? It may well just make your work may be a little bit quicker, and it may just sort of mean you're not sending quite so many emails. It just makes your workload a little different, maybe a bit quicker, maybe quite nice to do videos instead of writing constant emails. And it may well just allow you to build that rapport with them a little bit more. As I've said, we all generally quite like to see the people that we're working with and build a relationship with them, and obviously video and film can allow us to do that. So that was quite interesting. Also, couple of venues mentioned that they had started to create some Facebook groups specifically for their past and current couples, and they were finding that was working really nicely for interaction, and actually you're sort of in a way making your couples help each other, those who've been through the process and are married. It's not going to suit everybody, but for those that want to, quite happy to share their tips and advice and the things that they loved about their wedding, and also about how things work at your venue, and some of the ideas that they have. Obviously, those who are planning like the idea of joining a group and, you know, finding out information and getting support. So that's something that a couple of venues have trialed, and it's been successful. I know some of you might think, oh, not sure that I would want to do that, but something to think about. I mean, certainly I love this venue group. I know different audience, but you know, there's lots of great interactions that go on here, so potentially it could work for you with your brides. Obviously, big benefit to you is some of the sort of little questions may well be answered from client to client. Obviously, you need to monitor it and make sure that what's being said is sort of truthful. So it would require some kind of overseeing and management there. But also, you're going to get some fantastic testimonials and lovely comments from those who have already had their weddings. So that just builds your relationship with your future couples and puts their mind at rest, which I think, as we all know, if a client feels, you know, content and happy that everything's going along nicely with their planning, they can be easier customers to deal with. So there we go. There were lots of other things that did crop up yesterday. We did touch upon the sort of potential law changes with regards to ceremonies, although obviously there is no definitive news on that at the moment. But we did talk a little bit about that, and also about the increase in importance of independent celebrants. So it wasn't a huge topic yesterday, but we did touch upon it. And yeah, it was a very, very positive day. Lots of energy in the room. I was really pleased to be part of the you know, speaker lineup and the panel as well. There's some great questions. So thank you, those of you who were there yesterday. Do pop a comment. It'd be great to know. I know I had some new group members join last night, which I think was probably from the conference. So please pop a comment if you're catching up later. That would be lovely to know. And share any of your highlights if you were there yesterday. That would be useful for the rest of the group to see. So yeah, before I wrap up today, it doesn't stop. That's why I'm constantly drinking coffee. Monday, I am in Oxfordshire at the UK Wedding Conference organised by Guides for Brides. So I will be speaking there. So do let me know if I'm going to see some of you. I think there are, I know there's a few of you in the group who will be going. So do let me know. And yeah, I shall hopefully maintain my speaking voice over the weekend and look forward to seeing some of you on Monday. Anyway, I wish you all a happy Friday. I hope the sun comes out a little bit later. And yeah, wishing you great weekends. If any of you have weddings, good luck with that. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you live soon. Take care. Bye.